So today I'm interviewing Dr. Jeehyun Park, who is our collaborative pianist here at Concordia. She is from South Korea, and we're here in our piano studio where I actually work with her quite often because we just thought this was the nicest space. So we're just going to get right into it since we only have about 18 minutes. So, Dr. Park, what's the culture like in South Korea? Like, how different is it for you here? What's the major differences between South Korea and here in the U.S. that you've experienced so far in your time?
For cultural difference.
Yeah, cultural difference.
Cultural difference. There are many things, but I think the most different thing is language. Depends on the language, because our language has I just wrote down one. So honorific language, we do have it.
Honorific.
Yeah, honorific.
What does honorific mean?
So we do have a different language for the older people and the friends. So that's a very difference, and we do have very polite attitude to the older people,
right,
or important people or something like that.
Right.
Yes, and then we are very easily treat to children. But in USA, I feel like everybody is equal.
Pretty much.
Yes, pretty much. So it's very different. And of course, food, language.
Do you have
different?
Do you still cook
Sure.
Do you still cook mainly?
Sure.
South Korean food for the most part at home?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever mix in some American stuff, or is it pretty much
Well, since we eat American or Italian in lunchtime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So for dinner time, I always cook for
Is there some
Korean food.
Is there some favorite dishes that your boys have?
Sure. They love galbi. Do you know galbi? Marinated bone ribeye.
Marinated ribeye.
Yes.
Sounds good. I tried one thing. It was Korean barbecue or something.
Oh, yeah, like that.
I forget what it's called.
Galbi.
Kalbi. I think in Japanese it was called genki or something like that.
Teriyaki.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Yes.
But all right, yeah. As a kid growing up, it was always my favorite thing was hot dogs and bologna and things that were honestly not that good for you. But every kid has their favorite dish that their mother makes. So.
Yes. Well, my first boy, the David, always bring his lunch with pop, which is rice Korean rice. Always bring it for his lunch.
When you said pop, I'm like pop, like soda, like Coke or something. That sounds strange.
Yeah, pop is rice.
All right. Well, okay. So, what does I've obviously heard of some things like family culture and other things, but is there anything that's very unique about South Korean, the culture and families, just how the relationships work with each other? Or are they very close? Is it very how does that work?
Well, nowadays Korean culture is changed a lot. I felt it's not very different from here, getting more similar. But basically, Korean culture has a father has a most status, and then father. It's kind of father rule over.
Right, father's the head of the house.
Yes,
supposed to be like it is here. Though I don't know. Kind of in our modern times, it seems like family roles have gotten kind of skewed.
Mixed up. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But the thing is.
But still really well defined though. There.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, mother has a strong power too for children's education or something like that.
So, father is the one that has the job and really is the one that provides for the most part. Mm-hmm. Mother is mainly stay at home.
Yes, but it used to be, but nowadays it's changed a lot. So both parents are working a lot. Okay,
so it's more acceptable for the mother to marry.
Right.
Which, once again, it sounds like a lot of things. Same in the United States, My mother, she was a stay-at-home mom for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And some people, I feel like there's people today that are like, oh, well, that was oppressive. It's that wasn't the way she saw it. That was just the way she was raised to do it. So, and now she has a job, and it's very strange for her.
Really?
Yeah, she works at a
Wow.
senior living home.
Oh,
So,
that's good.
but she's enjoying it. So we kind of asked this. So education in
Yes.
South Korea. Can you give us kind of like an overview of what that looks like? How important it is?
It's really important. Everybody their most important things for the family. Many people think it's education, so they send their children. Their goal is to make them go into the good college.
Okay.
That's the first goal for the Korean people.
All right.
So I was raised not that family, but still I got very stressful from the school too.
Yeah.
Yes. So we do have a lot of things in school. Plus, we do have lots of private tutoring or private school too. Addition to the public school, we go to the other.
How is it structured there? Is it structured like the United States, like you have, kindergarten through high school, or is it very different? Because, here it's like you go through kindergarten through, about 5 years old through when you're 10 or 11, and then middle school is 11, 12, 13, then high school is 14 through 18. So is it
it's kind of same. But the Korea, nowadays they offer very young child care too.
Okay, so preschool or even younger?
Yeah, younger too. If the parents work together, both parents are working. If so, the younger children can go to the preschool for free.
Okay, but it's not like, are most schools privatized in Korea?
Yeah, privatized.
Okay, so there's tuition.
But from the kindergarten they can.
Okay.
It's like a public.
So there is no national is there a national education system like here where it's okay.
Yes. So from the kinder, and we do have a first grade to the sixth grade is elementary, and 7th to 9 middle school, and the other 3 years up to 12 is high school.
And you call it middle school there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I remember in Japan, because I had a month in Japan, they call it was junior high. It was not called middle school. If you called it middle school, that was almost offensive, which I don't understand why. So
yeah, we call it middle school.
All right. So, so in South Korea, what is the primary religion in South Korea? Like, is there a primary religion, or is because obviously here at Concordia it's a Lutheran Christian college. So do you participate in organized religion?
Sure. Yeah, my church is a Christian Reformed church.
Okay.
Yes, and then in Korea there are lots of Christian too. Maybe 20%
Christian.
Are Christians. But we do. I don't know the name, but Buddhism.
Buddhism. Okay.
Yes, also lots of.
I don't know. It's is there? I think Hindu is more Indian. Taoism, or is that a thing in Japan? I don't know.
No, that's not.
Okay.
Well, Buddhism is the.
Would they consider that the primary religion? Okay.
Yes.
So how have you been raised in the Christian church? Like, how is that important in your family?
Yes. Well, actually, my grandfather and grandmother the Christianity started from that time, from my grandparents. So, Christianity is really important to us for my family.
Sure.
And I went to the private school with the Christian.
Okay.
Yeah,
Christian private school.
Private school.
Okay. In South Korea.
Yes, right.
Oh wow. All right.
It's very different from the North Korea too. The North Korea doesn't allow to go to the church, but we do have a freedom of the religion.
In South Korea.
Yes, in South Korea.
Some countries don't have that at all.
No.
So then obviously it's also important, your boys,
Sure.
passing on those beliefs, which I would think for any family that's an important aspect. But is there, what is I don't know, is it important to pass on ancestry or tradition to the next generation? Kind of you have certain things that you do as a family. Is that something else? There's religion, but there's also might be I don't know, certain traditions that are prominent.
Well, you know what? The most important important thing for me and my husband is, of course, Christianity to send to our boys, but also I want them to enjoy the Korean culture too.
Right.
Yes, so I let them learn Korean language.
Okay.
So they go to the Korean school here.
Oh.
We do have a weekend Korean school.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yes, so they learn it, and sometimes we watch the Korean TV, so that they can easily get the Korean culture things.
Do you listen to is it K-pop? Do you listen to K-pop?
You know what? The funny thing is we do not know the K-pop because we do not like that pop music.
Right.
Yes, but the other things we see like a documentary or
soap
opera. Yes.
Did you watch the Olympics a little bit?
Yes,
since it was in South Korea,
right,
it was
right.
Hey, what? Because there was a lot of, I don't know. I think they try to be very inclusive with their culture and stuff, especially with the opening games and such like that. So.
Yes.
Yeah, when they said, I'm like, I wonder if Dr. Park listens to K-pop at all.
Not really. Yes, but I'm so proud of our country, and our culture because it's like 5,000 year history we do have.
Yeah.
Yes. Very deep.
Old.
Yes, very old and very deep.
America's so young compared to most countries. I mean, I remember one time I was walking down a street and it said, Nairita is celebrating its 1,115th birthday today as a city. I'm like, the United States is only like 200 some old years old or something. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, apart from like Christianity, is there any I don't know, this is kind of going on another topic, but eating habits or rituals that are different?
My country.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. Well, eating thing is very different. We do have we do have a plain rice with soup and lots of side dish. That's a very common our eating things. And then we do make once a year we do make a kimchi or lots of sauce things, marinade things. Soy sauce.
What is kimchi?
Yeah. Kimchi is marinated, spicy.
Lots of marinated.
Lots of marinated cabbage.
Cabbage.
Napa cabbage.
Oh, Napa. Okay.
Yes.
Ooh. I don't know. My mom makes Napa salad, and it's not the same, but we use Napa cabbage.
Right. So it's very spicy and very hot, but very good for her health too.
Sure.
So you know what? Oftenly we make it, but right before the winter time, we do have a ritual to make it for whole winter. So every time we make 2 nepa or something like that.
Okay.
At that time, right before winter, we make in Korea 100 nepas.
Oh wow.
Yes, lots. Yes, do that like that. But
in preparation for winter.
Yeah, preparation for winter, and then we do dig the ground.
Okay.
And then put our kimchi pot in the ground.
Interesting.
Under the ground.
With the napa in it. And then you dig it up when you need it?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting because we did not have the refrigerator.
Okay.
Yeah,
when this first a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So do some people now just use a refrigerator, or is it still pretty common to put it in the ground?
Put it in the ground is for only
the older generation still kind of does it.
Yes.
Okay, so is there any holidays that are specifically celebrated in your culture?
We do lots of holidays, but the cultural holiday is Lunar New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
Yeah,
okay.
New Year's Day and Thanksgiving Day too.
Really?
It's different from the American.
I was gonna say, which day is Thanksgiving Day in South Korea?
It's around September.
Okay.
Yeah, September early October. It's different, but.
And what do you guys? Is there? I mean, because obviously for us, Thanksgiving is it was giving thanks to God for bringing the pilgrims to our land. So what are you guys giving thanks for on that day specifically?
For the harvest, we do harvest but we do not have a specific god there
Sure.
at that point. But we just celebrate our harvest and many things. We do have a lot of dance things or making special food for that day.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And gather
not,
together.
but not turkey and stuffing and cranberry sauce.
Not that one.
And
or
you
rice
probably
cake
don't.
or something like that. And then also we gather together and we do have a ritual things for our ancestor.
Okay.
Oh, I think thanks to the ancestor.
That too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So now I know. Is it common to have in Korean houses? Is it common to have one of the, what would you call it? Kind of like, because I know when I visited Japan, they all have little things in their house that kind of honor their ancestors.
Right. Yeah, Japan doesn't have it. I heard about it too. But in Korean, not many people doesn't have it.
I can't think and I remember like a miniature shrine kind of thing, you know,
Right.
and it has maybe like pictures of your ancestors
Yes.
and incense or something along those
Yeah.
lines burning. So it's
Right.
not as common.
No.
Okay, so
We only do for the Thanksgiving in the fall time, but not common.
so ancestors, it's not. It's a big thing, but it's not like if you
Very important, not
Okay.
very important.
All right, so a little bit different. So out of curiosity, how is physical contact viewed in your culture? Is it like, because I know here, everyone has a space bubble.
Right.
Is it very like if because I remember like you get on a train in Japan, everyone was like, and you're like, and I felt so uncomfortable because like some guy would come sit right next to me. I'm like,
Yes,
what
they
is
don't care.
right? And it's not a big deal to them. Like it's just normal. So what does that look like in South Korea? Is it kind of the same?
Yeah, kind of same. But the fun thing is we don't touch too much
Okay.
intentionally, but
Okay.
unintentionally, in public. But unintentionally, we just touch it.
Yeah.
Never care.
So like physical contact with your significant other is frowned upon in public. Not here. It seems like the more you can be seen, the better. It's like,
Yeah, it's a little different.
So it's basically the same, but I've been told it's like in the countries that are smaller almost, and there's more people, it's more accepted
Right.
to be close together because that's just you live like that.
Very crowd.
Yeah.
Every time, especially in the subway,
Yeah.
we cannot go without touching others.
So I actually don't know what is the population there, right? Like I don't like rough like I don't even know like.
I don't even know too. No, I will think like 5. Okay, let me see.
It's fine.
500 million for just South Korea.
Really?
Well,
no, it's okay.
different.
It's okay because there's 357 million in the U.S.
300. What did you say?
357 million in the U.S.
I have the 50. I think of 50 million. 50 million.
That's okay.
Oh, yes, 50 million.
I was like 500 million. Oh my goodness.
But
Wow.
it's a really small country,
Yeah.
It's I think Michigan and South Korea
Roughly the same
roughly
size.
same size,
Yeah.
and then we do have a 50
No one realizes
million.
how small some of the countries there are.
Yes. Also, though, we do have a big city in Seoul. A big city is the
Big.
Seoul. And Seoul has only Seoul has a 10 million, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So it's
the
a
rural.
it's a mega city.
Yes, the rural city is fine, but the Seoul is very populated.
So is there any things that people do or that are considered like very disrespectful that you've seen, I don't know, foreigners do or tourists do that's just like you don't do that here? Because like in Germany, and this should go without saying, but you never talk about like Nazis or Hitler in Germany or do any, signs or stuff like that. Like you can get arrested for that kind of thing. And so maybe not to that point, but is there anything that's like, these are some things you should know about before going to South Korea? Like anything like that? Like tips for anyone who's going there maybe?
Well, we do not have many, but I just remember because you are talking about Germany.
Yeah.
We do have a not very good emotional things about Japan. Japan rules over like 35 years. We were
So there's a little bit of a tension there.
Yes, there is a tension. If I like Japan, and then nowadays
Man, now that
it's
I've been talking so much like about my experience, I'm like, no.
No, it's different. But if somebody, well, I remember in the Winter Olympic season, the BBC anchor talked about the South Korea have to thankful to Japan because Japan brought many things to the South Korea, and that made us very angry because Japan just rule over our country. And
like it wasn't like it was like a nice partnership.
No,
it was a dictatorship.
It was not, right? So yeah, if somebody talked about that like that, we are gonna be angry. But except that general Japan thing is fine.
So, do you think, like, for young kids, maybe in South Korea or here, like, what's your sense of culture like? For like, do you think they're kind of like moving away from like the traditional culture that their parents have been brought up with? Like, do you think it's important that they get educated in that area? Like, what's the general like mood towards like traditional South Korean values? Like,
well, it's really hard to have the traditional things in here, but also I want them to know it.
Sure.
Not too strictly.
Right.
Yes, but the good thing is, since I told you that we do have a Korean school, we do have a lot of culture gathering or something. So I just let them know very naturally. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I don't want them to like very strict have a culture thing. Yeah, open to them. I just want to open to them.
Okay. So last two things. What's the best thing and the worst thing about living here in the U.S.?
Yes, I was thinking about it. The best thing is diversity. Yes, I can enjoy many cultural things here.
Many kinds of food and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Yes. When I went back to Korea, when I visited Korea, I wanted to make some food for my parents, but they do not have many ingredients. But here, I can get many. Even Korean things I can get very easily.
It's nice.
So it's very easy. It's very good.
I'm sure in Ann Arbor it's even easier too.
Right.
It's so diverse just in the city alone.
Right.
So
that's a good thing. And very free.
Yeah.
Not too stressful about the education things too.
Mm.
Not too competitive. I don't know. Maybe the big city has a very competitive things, but here I felt very good.
Yeah,
it's good about it. But
so is there anything that you miss maybe about being in South Korea that's like?
Yes, my parents are living in Korea.
So you have no relatives here?
No.
Oh.
Yes, that's worst.
That's the worst thing about living in the US is not being around them.
Right.
Understandable.
Yes. But still, since I go to the Korean church, I felt like they are my family right now.
That's good.
Because we are living very close.
It's probably not a huge. Is it a pretty good size?
200 people.
So it's a nice,
nice
comfortable size.
Right.
By no means a mega church, but
yeah. And then the other thing is still language. So we do have a different humor or something. So sometimes why they are laughing, I don't think it's humor.
I don't
something
get
like
it.
That. Yeah, I don't get it. But something like that. But it's not the worst things, but it's different. Yes. The worst thing is family.
Well, thank you for giving me your time today.
No
It's been a pleasure.
Yes,
and
I really enjoyed it too.
yeah, if I can just hit the stop button.
Yes.
There you go.